Hello, world. Welcome back to another episode of the Silent Conversations podcast. This is your brother Silent Sound tapping in with you, here to bring you some more insight and inspiration to help you start and continue down your journey of self-development. As always, these episodes are brought to you by the Silent Store. Yes, the silentstore.com, where you can get my new ebook, The 3 Ps, the keys to having better days. Yes, peace, positivity, and perspective. How you can use these 3 words as a mindset to help you improve your outlook on your day so that you can have better days in life to ultimately master your day to master your life. In self-development, you run across many adversity and trials, but you need a strong mindset to overcome those. So the 3 Ps book was created to help you get some insight on yourself, to help you figure out what you need to help you stay grounded, positive, and able to observe things from an understanding standpoint instead of a critical judgment standpoint, and learn how to grow. This particular episode, we're talking about the cheat code to success. We all want to find the easiest way or the fastest way to get to our goal. We scroll through YouTube, we look through many books and try to find self-development shortcuts to help us get to our goal. Get rich quick schemes, as they may say. But there's a cheat code to success that really isn't necessarily some type of way that you can skip some steps to get to your goal faster. But this is a way to be able to capitalize on the things that you already have in front of you so that you can obtain your goal by putting these principles into action. So before we get into that particular cheat code, one thing that we want to get clear on is, what is success? What does success mean to you? What is success to you, and why do you want it? These things are questions that you have to ask yourself in order to really get clear on what you're trying to obtain. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to elevate or evolve in your life so that you can actually put a plan together that's going to be executable? A lot of times we set goals, we have aspirations of success, but we really don't know how we're going to get there. The reason for that is because we're too zoomed out on the goal to be able to figure out the details. So sometimes we need to zoom in and get real clear on what it is that we're trying to achieve. For some of us, our goals are things that we've never seen before. They're things that we dream about. They're things that we come up with in our minds, but we've never really seen it in the real world. So we're pulling from our imagination. Yet we still need to get clear on what that vision is. We still want to get clear on what that dream is truly about so we can achieve it. Otherwise, we're just kind of aimlessly shooting in the dark trying to accomplish these goals. So we want to get clear on what success is. For me personally, success is a moving forward. Every time I set a goal and I'm making actions or putting a plan together to be able to accomplish that goal, that is a form of success. When I actually put action into that plan and start to see some results, I'm moving through success. That is a process. Success is not just an end goal. It's not just, yes, I lost these pounds. Yes, I achieved or gained or earned this amount of money. No, success was the process in developing yourself to be able to attract those things to yourself. You're able to put yourself in a position so when the opportunity comes, you're able to capitalize on that opportunity. That's success. The result of the work that you put in, the result of the success is just a byproduct. You can keep multiplying that result if you keep multiplying what it took to be successful. So another thing we want to look at before we get into the cheat code of success is, what are you willing to lose, or what are you willing to do to achieve success? When we get to speaking about a plan, we have to understand what steps it's going to take to get to the end goal. We have to know what is point A, what is point B, and then how am I going to get there? What's that dash in between that's going to actually help me achieve that goal, give me the desired result? So every mark on that plan has to be intentional or directed in the right way in order to get to the goal that we have in our mind or that we have on our plan. So we have to figure out, what are we willing to do and what are we willing to lose? What are we willing to sacrifice? What are we willing to give up in order to get what we want? You know how they say you can't have your cake and eat it too? Well, you can have your cake and eat it too, but you can't do it at the same time. You see, you have to pick it, you have to choose it. You can't say I want this whole cake and then you want to eat it and still have the cake. No, you have to say, well, I want the cake and then now I want to eat it. And then after I eat it, I don't have the cake. So you have to be okay with the result. You don't just get the result without putting in the work. So let's get into the cheat code. So I broke down CHEAT as an acronym. That's consistency, hard work, environment, authenticity, and teamwork. That's consistency, hard work, environment, authenticity, and teamwork. That's how you cheat your way to success. Now, again, cheating to success is not something that helps you skip a step. Actually, it helps you focus and dial in to what it is that you're trying to achieve so that you actually can achieve that goal. You're not just shooting in the dark, hoping to achieve your goal. You're actually taking intentional steps to achieve that goal exactly when you plan to do it. So the first question is how to stay consistent. What does consistency mean? Being consistent is something that you do on a regular basis, something that you, every time you wake up, you consistently wake up at this specific time. Let's say you set an alarm for 8 o'clock so that you can consistently get up at 8 o'clock to get your day started. You consistently take a shower. You consistently brush your teeth. You consistently do what you need to do every day to get your day started. That's something that you do consistent. So when it comes to success, you have to be consistent with the actions that you put in to be able to achieve your goal. That's the first key. Whatever it is that you want to do, you have to be willing to put in that work every day consistently until your desired result is achieved. Regardless of what may come from that, regardless of the lack of support that you may think you need, regardless of the input or the feedback that you're looking for doesn't come your way in the desired fashion that you receive it in, you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that regardless of what adversity comes, I still need to deliver these tasks to be able to achieve my goal. These are the ways to formulate success for yourself. Push through the hard times. Be able to capitalize even on those good times, not to get lazy on the good days when things are going well. Still consistently do what needs to be done. So how do you stay consistent? We talk about it all the time. You have to have a plan. That's number one. Once you have a plan, you then have to execute. You have to execute. You have to execute. You have to take action. You can't just say you want to do something, come up with a plan, and then don't actually use the plan. What was the point of writing it down? What was the point of taking the time out to create a plan if you're not going to actually do the plan? What if that plan is going to be the difference between you becoming successful or not? What if that sticking to that plan is the reason why you actually get the result that you want? What if you don't stick to the plan and then you fail? You can't get disappointed in no one else because you didn't stick to the plan. So you want to have a plan. You want to write it down. You want to make sure that you look at it and refer to it all the time to make sure you stay on track to that plan. Then you want to execute. And then lastly, after you execute, you want to make adjustments. No plan is going to go exactly as planned. And when they say that, that means that when you first write that plan, it may not go exactly the way you wrote that plan because you're going to run into responses to your actions. You're going to run into reactions to your action. That's cause and effect. That's the general law of the universe, cause and effect. When you do something, something else happens. And when that happens, that affects other things. That is going to make other matter move when one particular matter moves. So you have to be willing to accept that, then make adjustments in your plan. That doesn't mean you change your goal. You just change the actions that you're doing to get to your goal. You run into a wall. Okay, there's a wall there. So let me go back to my plan. I can't just go straight. I need to go straight and then make a turn, either left or right. Once you decide what that next move is, you then got to take that next step. So it's make a plan, execute on that plan, then make adjustments. You have to be able to adjust because you may be moving and things feel very comfortable. When things are real comfortable, there's an adjustment that needs to be made. You need to challenge yourself, because if you're starting to repeat the same actions and not getting a result, you're starting to get or not getting a different result. You're in the insanity zone. You're in the insanity zone. You need to be able to disrupt that cycle and make a new action so that you can get a different result. So how do you be consistent? You set a plan, you execute, and then you make adjustments. You have to review the film. When you look at football, when a quarterback goes out there and they have a turnover, they go right back and look at the film. What happened? What did I miss? What did I see? What did I thought I saw, but what was going on that I missed that caused this turnover? You got to go right to the film. You can't sit back and just take the loss. Okay, it's a turnover. Let me sit here and be emotional about it. Yeah, feel those emotions. Understand that, okay, I need to make some adjustments. Let me look at the film. Let me review my plan. Let me look at the playbook. What did I miss? So that you can, next time when you're ready to get there, when you're under the center and you're ready to hike that ball, you now have a different perspective. This is why mindset is so key. It's hard to be consistent when you don't have a strong mindset, because when adversity shows up, when setback shows up, when things show up that you didn't plan for, throws you off track, your mindset tells you that this is just part of the process. Let me make adjustments. But that doesn't mean stop executing. That doesn't mean stop taking action. That doesn't mean stop being positive. That means make adjustments. Get back to your plan, execute, and make adjustments. It's not all over once you have a setback. Failure is an opportunity to learn so that you can be successful. How can you appreciate success if you don't understand failure? And in order to fail, you have to take action. So it's just part of the process. So we broke down consistency. So now let's look at hard work. What is hard work? A lot of times we get hard work confused with busy work. Sometimes we feel like, okay, I'm working really hard. If you're a model, okay, I'm taking a lot of photos, but are you improving your poses? Are you getting with better photographers? Are you working on different lenses and different looks, different backgrounds, such and such? I'm not a model, I don't know. But when it comes to creating your profile for yourself, what are you willing to do in order to get the best shot or get the best opportunity for yourself to be ready for when you get the right photographer or the right camera? You're ready for that opportunity. So now when you're actually paying for time or booking studio time, you're able to utilize that time at its maximum and you're not just guessing. That's the thing about hard work. You got to do the hard work. A lot of the hard work comes in the practice and the repetition when no one's watching. When you're just by yourself and you got to just work on your enunciation, you got to work on different tones, you got to work on your pace, you got to work on your different skill sets, so that when it's time to perform, when you're on the big stage, it doesn't become so overwhelming or so stressed that you can't perform. So do the hard work. What is real hard work? That's planning. Planning is so important. So that's why I bring it up so often, because we all know the cliche, proper planning prevents poor performance. But when you actually put it into reality, you understand that if you plan out things, you at least have a general outline of how you want things to go. That doesn't mean that other people don't have their own plans that may interrupt you. That doesn't mean that other people may have not planned and it may disrupt what you have going on. That doesn't mean that unforeseen circumstances are going to come up that may derail your plan and you may have to adjust. But it's about having something to be able to keep you on track. It's a guideline. When you write out a speech, you got to have an outline. Even if you don't want to necessarily write it out word for word, you want to have an outline so that you can stay on track with your message. When I started this podcast episode, I said, let me go to my notes. I want to be a little bit more clear on what we're doing, because this particular skill set or principle that we can learn about how to cheat to success is important, because a lot of us don't know how to get started and a lot of us don't know how to keep going when we get stuck. because we may have done some planning. We may have came out with a vision and wrote it down and know what we want to do. But when things get tough, we then kind of like, I don't know how to adjust. We didn't know that maybe this plan needs to be adjusted versus just balling it up and then starting all over from scratch again. Sometimes it doesn't always require us to go back to ground zero again. It doesn't mean let's just start all over again. Sometimes it means let's just adjust the plan, but keep taking action, keep being consistent, keep doing the work, but don't stop. Make adjustments. Take a break and say, okay, let me review. Let me review the film. We just had a turnover. We just had a bad possession. Let me see what just happened. What did I miss? What do I need to adjust? What do I need to look out for? Learn. Then we can grow. Think, learn, grow. We got to come up with a plan first. We got to take some action so we can experience, so we can learn. Once we learn, we grow. We elevate to the next level. So that hard work, consistency plus hard work. Okay? We're not skipping any steps. We got to do what we have to do every day. We can't just say, well, it's Saturday, it's the weekend, I'm going to work on my goals today only, and think that we're going to get the results of the people that are working every day to get to their goals. Regardless of what the goal is, every day we have to be conscious of what the goal is. We got to stay disciplined. Now that may be its own episode. We have to talk about discipline, but we want to get to a point where we can start staying conscious of what our goals is, staying conscious of what our goals are, and stay conscious of what our plans are, so that we can do the right thing every day, so that we can actually get the result we want. We don't get disappointed. We want to remember that hard work and busy work are two separate things. You can be busy doing something that's not working and think that you're doing the hard work when you're really just working really hard doing something that doesn't really benefit what you're doing. You want to be very clear about what you're doing, which is why we talked about at the beginning. What is success? What does the end goal look like? What do you really think about when you think about your goals? Do you just think about achieving the goal, or do you look at what does it take to become that person to get those goals? That's a different perspective, because once you realize that if I work on me, if I get the inside or the inner me correct, then the outer me will start reflecting the qualities that attract the goal that I'm trying to achieve. Being consistent is important, because then the hard work doesn't seem so hard, even though it must be done. It doesn't seem so hard because you know you have an end goal that you're trying to achieve. The next thing that we want to look at in this cheat code is the E. That's environment. Your environment will change you before you change your environment. We hear this all the time. We hear that when you look at your friends, the 5 people that you're around is who you'll actually become, the 6th version of that. So if you're around 5 broke people, you'll eventually become the broke one. If you're around 5 people that don't reason with logic and are just emotional, you'll become the next emotional one. But if you're around individuals who think, and around individuals who are creative, and around individuals who are inspirational, you too will get that same bug and become just like those ones. You'll become inspirational. You'll become creative. You'll start looking at yourself differently when you're around individuals that look at themselves differently. That's the importance of the Silent Mind Network. That's the importance of the Silent Conversations podcast, because we want to build a community here that like-minded individuals that want to grow can come and actually absorb information to help recharge and get back out there and keep growing and inspire the next person to start and continue down their journey of self-development. It's so important. It's so critical, because our environment affects us a lot. We live in an environment or a society that's bombarding us with negativity. We live in a chaotic world. We live in a world that's constantly telling us what we should do, who we should be, who we should like, who we should dislike, who we should love, who we should hate. But when are we going to get to the point to start understanding for ourselves what it is that we need? Then it makes it very difficult when you actually decide, okay, I'm going to start growing. I'm going to move up to the next level. Well, Then you come across the environments that you, and you start to notice things a little different. Once your perspective expands, you start to look at the environments that you are consistently showing up in and start looking at them different. Like, is this actually benefiting me? Is this actually something that is going to help me elevate to the next level? Will the best version of myself be in these environments? That's something that you have to ask yourself. Before you can get to success, you got to be in an environment that will help you get, or conducive to, success. If you're not in a successful environment, then how can you expect success to be easy, or not easy? Because success is not something to look at as easy. But how can you expect success to be simple if you're around individuals that look at success as something complex, something that is very difficult? But if you're around individuals that understand that success is a process, then when you come across your own process of how you're going to achieve success, then it becomes a little more digestible. It becomes a little bit more understandable, because that's the key. A lot of times our perspective needs work. A lot of times our perspective needs expansion. A lot of times our perspective is too small. Sometimes our perspective could be too small for our dreams and our visions and our plan. Sometimes our perspective may be too small for the actions that need to be taken within the plan so that you can get the result. So you need to get around some individuals that help you expand your mind, expand your vocabulary. When you think about perspective, your vocabulary, the words you use, say a lot about your perspective or your outlook on life. How you feel about yourself, it shows up in the words that you choose when you talk about yourself, or you talk about things that you are affected by. When you talk about the things that you want to do, when you talk about it from a negative standpoint, because those are the words that you have for. You may not realize that the words you have negative connotations around it, and you realizing why you're getting lackluster results. It's because you're using lackluster words to be able to achieve that. The deeper science of words is vibration and energy. And when you understand what vibration you're putting out, what energy you're putting out with the words that you're using, you may start choosing different words to be able to get the right signal out so that you can attract the right things. You might start looking at situations a little bit different, and not being so critical of them, because maybe that particular situation is trying to bring something out of you so that you can master it. What if that trial is building something in you that will help you later in life when you need to encounter something similar or better or worse, and you don't have the reference material to be able to refer to be able to move forward in that position, because you're like, oh, okay, I know I've been through something like this before. I know what happens after this. There's a reward at the end of this tunnel. There's light at the end of this tunnel because I've been through a dark tunnel like this before. So I'm not going to allow it to set me back. I'm not going to allow it to knock my mindset into a negative. I'm going to stay in the positive because I understand that this is just part of the process. Are you okay with sticking to the process? So the next word that we want to think about is authenticity. How can you be authentic and still grow? You can be yourself in anything. That's the main goal of what self-development is about, is developing yourself. That doesn't mean that you're changing who you are. You're developing who you are into a better version that is capable of achieving what it is that you want to do. It's not so much about what you want to achieve. I keep reiterating that, is that if you keep focusing on the end goal and not work on who you are, so that when you receive what it is that you're achieving, you can appreciate it and you can actually inspire and teach others how you did it. If you didn't pay attention to the film and look back and understand what it is that you learned from that situation, so that you can help the next person and even help yourself reach the next level, because every goal needs to come with another one once it's achieved. These are just checkpoints along the way. You never stop growing till you die. Anything that's not growing is dead. So if you're not working on your mindset, if you're not growing your mindset, then you're killing or dying. Your mindset is dying. If you're not growing your perspective, then you're killing your perspective. You're allowing it to constrict until it's nothing. You're making it smaller and smaller. You're staying in one lane. when there's vast amount of things that you can expand and see. You don't want to look out the window through a peephole. You want to look through the whole window. You want to open the door of life. You want to be able to look and see the true glory of it all. Not just what you've been given to look through. You may have been just given a small door to look through, but there's so many more doors that you can look through. There's so many more things for you to experience. But if your perspective is that you don't deserve, or you're not deserving of seeing the things that you have really been given as a gift to be able to see, not everyone has that opportunity. Not everybody has the blessing of sight, physical sight. So why aren't you capitalizing on yours? Why aren't you experiencing as much as you can? As you get older, you may lose that gift. So why not in your time now use that gift as much as you can and experience as much vision and sight as you can, so that you can move forward in life without regret, but with appreciation and gratitude for the blessings that you've been receiving. So how can you be authentic and grow? Well, if you're being yourself and you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and open to growth and open to different perspectives, you never know what someone can bless you with to help you along your journey. But if you're going along your journey with a one-track mind and how this is how it's going to go and no one can tell me any different, then at that point you're missing out on all the intangible gifts that you can get in life. You're missing out on all the things that may help you along the way that you may need later. Some lessons um, you can learn from other people instead of having to endure them yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, some things you do need to get hands on with, but some things don't require you to have to bump your head if you can actually learn it from someone who's already bumped their head multiple times and you can avoid that mistake. Some mistakes do not need to be hit. Some mistakes are unavoidable, but a lot of them are avoidable if we just look around and take in consideration other perspectives and other ways of looking at things, so that we can be more expansive in our perspective, so that we can get our outlook a little more expanded, so that we can see what it is that we're doing and what's out there. A lot of this is considered unknown because we've only been looking at it from one way. But then things become less unknown when you start to broaden your perspective, because you can start to see things for what they truly are and not for what they perceive to be, based off of what you've been taught or what you've been conditioned to look at or how you've been programmed to think. You can actually see it for what it is and see it for yourself, and then you can discern for yourself what you need to do. So after authenticity, so again, let's reiterate here. So we talked about consistency, we talked about hard work, we talked about how important the environment is, and how being authentic allows you to be open to growth, so that you are able to grow. You're able to take in other perspectives. When you stay authentic, you're able to see things from a different light and not so negative. Things don't seem to be so scarce. Things appear to be more abundant when you're authentic, because you understand that what's for me is for me, and what I get will not take away from anybody else, and what someone else is getting doesn't take away from me. Me being me is just enough. It just means that we have to develop ourselves into one that attracts what it is that we want. And that last letter of cheat, which is that T, talks about teamwork, and that gets back into being authentic. If you're not being yourself, you won't attract the right people for yourself. If you're being something, if you're being what you think people want you to be, you're going to attract individuals that want to be around that may not be the ones that's here for your goal. So you spending all of this energy, you spending all of this time being something that you're not, then you attract individuals that you really don't want, but they're attracted to the person that you're not. And you trying to realize, why am I keep getting these negative people? It's because you're becoming a negative person subconsciously and attracting these negative people, but that's not really what you want. That wasn't the desired result that you were looking for. What you were looking for was positivity. What you were looking for was successful individuals. What you were looking for was for individuals that can help you reach your goals, keep you accountable, and ones that you also want to do the same for them, so that we all can be of like mind and we all can reach our goals and complete our missions in life, fulfill our purpose in life. So what is a strong team? A strong team is one that works together. A strong team is where its weakest link is still strong. Its weakest link is still there as a benefit. They say a fence or a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Well, imagine if your weakest link was still accountable, was still trustworthy, was still consistent and disciplined, but they have flaws. We're not perfect, but we strive for greatness. We strive to be the best version of ourselves. But what if the weakest person on your team was still striving to be great, and they just need you to help them, to pull them up and keep them supported? A strong team supports each other. A strong team is always centered on the goal. A strong team is, how can we show compassion and be able to look out and realize that what I do affects others as well. So me playing my role is going to help this person play their role that much better. Let me not be 50% where I'm then throwing my extra 50% on top of somebody else's work that they're already doing. So now I'm making it harder for them to get the goal done, but yet I want the same benefit. I want the same profits. I want the same reward, but I'm not willing to put in the same amount of work and the same amount of energy, have the same amount of appreciation. That wouldn't be fair. That's not a strong team. That would be an individual that is a taker or opportunist. They're just around you just to take the opportunity, but they're not actually putting themselves in a position to make this opportunity great for everyone around them. So you need a strong team in order to be successful as well. Sometimes that team takes time to build. Sometimes that team may just be your support system. They may not be hands-on in what you're doing, but they're just around you, keeping you accountable, helping you, giving you reminders and keeping you empowered, helping you stay inspired, helping you to stay motivated, helping you to stay centered and grounded, and reminding you of what the end goal is. They may, like I said, they may not be in the trenches with you, but they're there to support your vision. They're there to support what you're trying to do, even if it's just some kind words. But we have to be selfless in the sense that we don't get caught up in our ego, where we're blind to the real support that we have. Sometimes support may seem very quiet or silent. Sometimes support may appear unseen, but it's seen. But maybe they don't have anything of value to give, so they'd rather not give anything of detriment than to give something. Then they'd rather not give something of detriment than actually say something at all. Maybe they are not able to say anything positive, so they'd rather not say nothing negative, and they'll just leave it is what it is. Just keep it going, and you never know what it is they may be going through. But that shouldn't be on them. You don't know what the conditions or what the situation may be, but that's not your business. Your job is to stay consistent. Your job is to do the hard work. Your job is to put yourself in the right environment so you can be successful. Your job is to stay yourself so that you can grow and be authentic. Your job is to work on being the best version of yourself so you can attract the right team, so that you can accomplish your goals at a more efficient or effective rate. But that doesn't stop you from executing. That doesn't mean we don't want to keep going. So how do you cheat, or what is the cheat code to success? That's consistency, hard work, environment, authenticity, and teamwork. It's something that we all can do. No, it's not about skipping steps. It's about taking the right steps, not wasting your steps, not wasting your time and wasting your energy doing the things that's not going to be beneficial to your goal. It's about taking intentional steps so you get to your goal on time and not delay yourself so that you're reaching your goal later in time and then get disappointed and may not even continue down the path because you get so burnt out from doing the wrong work, doing the busy work and not doing the hard work, or being consistent at doing the right things, taking the right action, being consistent, showing up in the right environments, being your true self, being authentic so that you can be around the right people. Instead, you're being distracted by individuals that's not really helping you. They may not mean no harm, but they're not helping you either. They're in a neutral zone. So you want to get out the neutral In neutral, you can't drive anywhere. You're a victim to the environment that you're in at that point. If you're in neutral, and if you're on a hill, you're going backwards. And if you're going backwards, that's not helping you to your success. That's degradation. That's decay. So we don't want to be stagnant in growth. So this was another episode of the Silent Conversations podcast. You can see this on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Every Saturday we dropping episodes. Be sure to check out for more content. We're going to have some more things that we need in this community to help you all. It's about growing this platform out so that we can make a community that helps like-minded individuals get what they need to get to their next goal. We all want to be best versions of ourselves, and the best way to do so is to be in the right places at the right time and be prepared for those opportunities. So look out for more content. We're gonna build the YouTube page out. Follow on Instagram. That's the #1 Silent Sound. That's where you can catch a lot of the clips of the podcast of anything that you want to dial in on. I also got a lot of insights and shorter videos as well you can check out, which are all make it to YouTube eventually as well. So just look out for that. Again, like, share, subscribe, share this with somebody. Check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you check out podcasts at. But definitely, as always, this podcast and all podcasts are sponsored by the Silent Store, thesilenstore.com. That's where you can get my new ebook, The 3 Ps. That's peace, positivity, and perspective. The keys to having a better day. This mindset is one that I use every day to this day that helps me stay centered, help me stay grounded, help me stay focused on what it is that I'm trying to achieve with my goals, and help me to have the right perspective to gain understanding with others along my journey so that I don't get distracted by the wrong things, putting my energy in the wrong things or the wrong people, the wrong actions, so I can actually achieve what it is that I'm trying to achieve, which is the greatest day I can, which is the greatest life. These things all surmount. Good days leads to a good life. So the better I can make my day, the better I can make my life. If I get to the point, or when I get to the point where I mastered my day, then I can master my life as well. So let's tap in. That's thesilenstore.com. This has been the Silent Conversations podcast. As always, it's your brother Silent Sound. We operate under the 3 Ps: peace, positivity, and perspective. Think, learn, grow. If you're not growing, you're dying. So make sure that you're taking your ideas and you're putting them in on a plan, putting them into action so that you can grow, make adjustments. We talked about the cheat code to success. So get on the way, be consistent, put in the hard work, get in the right environment, stay authentic, and find the right team. And you can be successful as well. So as always, peace. Tap in.